Hey guys, Scarra here with another Acer training room video. Today we'll be talking about cheating mechanical skill on the Rift. Let's get started. There are a lot of different ways to define mechanics. For the clarity in this video, we're going to define mechanics as player micro skill through ability usage and champion movement throughout the game. The objective of this video is that regardless of your mechanical skill or individual mechanical level, you can use preparation to replace any mechanical skill you may be missing or accentuate any mechanical skill you may have. Let's look at a situation that's very hard to react to. Examples are a champion with an immediate dash into a team fight, something like Aurelia or Katarina, a champion that's almost impossible to react to on demand. What do you do in situations to try to slow down these champions' damage? Well, if you're a support player, the most obvious answer is you run exhaust and you exhaust them. However, how exactly do you get exhaust off on these champions? The correct answer is by buffering. The buffering that I'm talking about in this situation is if you use an ability, what happens is your champion moves forward toward the enemy champion, and if they come in at the same time, your ability goes off as soon as they come into your ability's range, regardless or not if your reaction times are very quick. Let's talk about using these situations in real time in the game. So the common example is that you're a support player and you're waiting on an assassin to come into a team fight. A lot of times you can look to attack move while using your exhaust as your forward moving ability. So usually what happens is that when you move front to back, you move click forward and you move click backwards. However, in this situation, you exhaust forwards and you mouse click backwards, and what happens is here, as soon as the enemy player comes into your range, your exhaust is automatically on them. So that their early rotation they do, which can be very front loaded if they're an assassin, can be immediately exhausted, so you're negating the most amount of damage. Another example is, let's say you're laning against a very quick champion like Katarina, and you're playing something like Kassadin. However, you're struggling to be able to react fast enough to punish effectively with your Q. So what do you do in this situation? Well, you use exactly the same example as prior, one with the exhaust, but however you use it with your Q. Q forces you to move forward so that you can constantly move forward with Q while moving back with your mouse, so that you never move too far forward and move yourself into danger. What this does is that it buffers your Q to automatically cast on the Katarina as soon as she comes into range, which means that it's very hard for her to quickly harass you and get out unpunished by your damage. How do people teamfight so well? Well, the secret is most people cheat. Whenever you teamfight, you should make a mental checklist of the stuff that you want to be thinking about the most. You'll notice that a lot of streamers do this. They'll talk about how strong a specific player or champion is, thereby increasing the priority on their checklist. When you're analyzing and preparing for a teamfight, you break down a teamfight to what you want to do and what are the biggest ways people can stop you. From the perspective of a carry, usually the thing that stops you the easiest is hard CC followed swiftly by death. So the example of you playing an AD against Malphite and you're fed, you know he's going to go after you most likely. This usually means keeping your finger on flash and being prepared well in advance to immediately flash as soon as the ulti animation starts. Now what do you do when you're the Malphite in this situation? You only have one threat to go on and they know it. Well, the best thing to do is to flash next to them and then ultimate. What this does is it cuts their ability to react, so even if they're prepared for it, they may still mess up or may not be able to react fast enough in this situation. Lastly, let's talk about skill shots. Skill shot accuracy is a huge part of mechanical skill. However, it's something that it can be manipulated by way more than you think it can. So a lot of situations, people try to use skill shots at the max possible range and they get confused when they miss. The thing that most people commonly forget is that before you look to cast a skill shot, you have to make it so that it has the highest odds of hitting the target. What this usually means is that rather than you looking to cast at max range, you move up a lot closer to be able to cut off potential paths and maximize your ability to increase your level of skill shot accuracy. So usually, the most common way that I see people mess this up is when they're playing the jungle role and they're looking to gank a lane. So what commonly happens is that people tend to not cut off all the angles of their opposing player enough so that it leaves it up in the air for the opposing player to be able to just quickly flash away and or move quickly to the side to dodge the skill shot easily. Let's walk through a gank attempt by the Elise player here. So as the Elise, here's the common mistakes that I see a lot of Elise players do. 1, they throw the skill shots way too early. 2, especially with red buff, they don't tag the opposing player with a buff first to slow down their movement speed and increase the chances of landing their E. Hitting your E is the most important part of Elise because it means that you CC them enough for you to be able to kill the opposing player as well as for them not to be able to do anything in return. So hitting your E is all you should be thinking about when you're looking to make an Elise gank. So what happens after you auto attack them with red buff to slow down their movement speed? You walk forward to slowly cut off the amount of angles the opposing player can move, which increases the amount of opportunity that you have of being able to land your E. Watching this clip as I move closer and closer and now force the other player into a very bad situation. Whereas first maybe he has a 20% chance to get hit with a skill shot. Now I force him into a situation where it's over 50% chance that I land my skill shot, and he therefore has to play a very, very hard guessing game. While the importance of mechanical skill can't be understated, it can be substituted. I hope this video made you guys better mechanical players. Thank you guys, and I'll see you guys on the Rift.